My neighbor Bill retired 3 years ago with about $800,000 saved. Felt pretty good about it. Had a plan, was excited. Then he made one mistake. At a backyard barbecue, someone asked how much he had saved for retirement. Bill, being honest and proud of what he'd built, told them. Within 6 months, 3 different relatives had emergency situations that needed loans. His daughter suddenly expected help with her kids' college. His brothers started making comments about must be nice to be set for life. Bill didn't lose money to bad investments. He lost it to people who knew he had it. Grab your coffee. We need to talk about the things you should never say out loud once you retire.
Look, I'm all for being open and honest, but retirement changes the game. When you're working, your income is theoretical. People know roughly what you make, but they don't know what you have. But the moment you retire, everything becomes visible. You're not getting a paycheck anymore. You're living off savings. And suddenly, everyone's curious. How much do you need to retire? What's your monthly income now? Did you take Social Security at 62 or wait? These feel like innocent questions, small talk at the retirement party or the grocery store. But every answer you give is information someone else can use, and not always in ways that help you. I'm going to walk you through 5 things you should keep to yourself in retirement. Not because you're being secretive, because you're being smart. First thing, never tell anyone your total nest egg. Not your siblings, not your adult kids, not your golf buddies. Nobody except your spouse and maybe your financial advisor. Here's why. The moment people know you have $500,000 or $800,000 or $1.2 million saved, they start doing math in their heads. Well, if he's got $1 million, he could easily loan me $20,000 for this business idea. She's got all that money just sitting there. She doesn't need help with the grandkids. She can afford a nanny. I knew a guy, 63, retired from the post office with a solid pension and about $400,000 in his 401k. His nephew found out how much he had saved and started pitching him on a can't-miss investment opportunity. 6 months and $80,000 later, the nephew stopped returning calls. The investment was a shell company. Money's gone. Could have happened to anyone, but it happened because the nephew knew there was money to go after. Here's the thing. People treat you differently when they know your number. If they think you're broke, they leave you alone. If they think you're comfortable, they respect boundaries. But if they know the exact amount, they start seeing you as a resource. What to say instead? We're comfortable. We planned for this. We're doing okay, nothing fancy. That's it. Vague and boring. Perfect.
Second thing, don't tell people when you took Social Security or how much you get. I know this sounds paranoid, but hear me out. There's a woman in my neighborhood, took Social Security at 62, got about $1,400 a month, made sense for her situation. She needed the income. Her sister waited until 70 and gets $3,200 a month. Now every family gathering is awkward. The sister keeps saying things like, well, if you just waited like I told you. Meanwhile, the woman at 62 needed that money to cover healthcare costs while her husband was sick. Waiting wasn't an option. But now she's defensive about a decision she made 5 years ago. Every conversation about money becomes a referendum on who planned better. Here's the reality. Social Security timing is personal. It depends on your health, your savings, your expenses, your family situation. There's no universal right answer. But the moment you tell someone your strategy, they're going to judge it based on what they did, not what made sense for you. What to say instead? We figured out what works for us. Our advisor helped us decide. Everyone's situation is different. Shut it down politely. Move on. Third thing, never break down your monthly expenses. This one surprises people. They think, what's the harm in talking about my budget? Here's the harm. Someone asks, so what do you spend in retirement? You say, about $4,500 a month. Now they're doing math. Wait, I only spend $3,000. What are you spending an extra $1,500 on? And suddenly you're explaining your prescription costs, your travel budget, your hobbies, your choices. Or worse, you say $4,500 and they say, wow, we only need $2,800. And now you feel like you're doing retirement wrong. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Retirement spending is wildly personal. Some people travel constantly. Some people stay home and garden. Some people have $600 a month in healthcare costs. Others have $50. There's no right amount, but the moment you share yours, someone's going to have an opinion. I watched two couples nearly end a 30-year friendship because one couple found out the other was spending $6,000 a month. How are you spending that much? We're fine on half that. Turned out the higher spending couple was helping their daughter through cancer treatment, but they didn't want to explain that, so the friendship just faded. What to say instead? We're managing fine. Some months are higher than others. We adjust as we go. Keep it vague. Protect your peace. Fourth thing, don't tell your kids or anyone what they're getting in your will. I know, you want to be transparent, you want everyone to know the plan so there's no fighting later, but here's what actually happens. You tell your son you're getting the house and $200,000 from the 401k. Great, now he's planning his life around that money. He's making financial decisions assuming it's coming. Then 5 years later, you need to move into assisted living. The house gets sold to pay for care. The 401k gets drained, covering medical expenses. Your son's not mad at the circumstances. He's mad at you for changing the plan. Or worse, you tell your daughter she's getting $100,000 and your son finds out he's getting $150,000. Now there's resentment before you're even gone. Here's the rule. Your estate is your money. You get to spend it, change it, adjust it however life demands. The moment you promise specific amounts, you've locked yourself into expectations you might not be able to meet. What to say instead? We're taking care of things. You'll be fine. Let's talk about that when the time comes. Your kids don't need to know the details until they actually need to know. Fifth thing, don't tell people if you're worried about money, even if you are. This one's tough because sometimes you are worried. Maybe the market dropped. Maybe expenses are higher than expected. Maybe you're wondering if you should have worked another year. But the moment you say out loud, "I'm not sure we saved enough," two things happen. One, your kids panic on your behalf. Your kids start offering to help. Your friends start giving unsolicited advice. Everyone's suddenly a financial expert. And two, you lose negotiating power. If you're worried about money, you can't say no when someone asks for a loan. You can't push back when your insurance tries to raise rates. You look desperate. Here's what to do instead. If you're genuinely worried, talk to a financial advisor. Not your brother-in-law, not your neighbor, a professional who can actually run the numbers and tell you if you're fine or if you need to adjust. Most of the time, you're fine. You're just scared because retirement is new and you're not used to living off savings. But keep that fear private until you know it's real. What to say instead? We're keeping an eye on things. We review our plan every year. So far, so good. Confidence, even if you don't feel it yet.
Look, I'm not saying you should lie to people. I'm saying you should protect your privacy. Retirement is the first time in your life when your finances are completely on display. No paycheck coming in, no boss to blame, just you and the choices you made. And people will judge those choices. They'll compare. They'll give advice you didn't ask for. They'll make assumptions about what you can afford. The less they know, the less they can interfere. So here's your homework this week. 1. Practice your vague answers. We're doing fine. We've got a plan. Get comfortable saying nothing. 2. If you've already told people too much, don't panic. Just stop adding details. Let the information go stale. 3. Have one conversation with your spouse. Make sure you're both on the same page about what stays private. Retirement's supposed to be the reward for decades of work. Don't let other people's opinions or expectations ruin it. All right, that's it from the porch today. See you next time.